Yes, yes, it's Tea with Tea Sundays, and we're so excited to have you guys about everything, all about the truth of this world, the esoteric information, the history and the symbolism of these things. We talk about so many good, interesting topics, and we're happy to have you guys here.
So happy to have y'all here. So today we're talking about the difference between your ego and being egotistical.
Yes. Woo!
Take it away, sis.
Sis, I'm waiting for you to take it away because guess what? You had kind of like got me on the whole egotistical thing, right?
Yo.
I called up sis. I called up sis. I was like, sis, let's talk about the fact that people be all the way into their ego. Before we even go no further, could you guys like this video so it could get high?
Yes.
Please
Like the
like, tap like,
video,
tap like, type like, please, because
like it, and share it.
got shit to talk about, and we need people to understand the truth of this world and not sleep. We not sleep no more. We not. We're not like holding back on our tongue anymore. So I would love to
Yeah,
everybody in this that's about that life because we about that life.
we're about that life.
So
And it's
yeah,
so
I called
important.
I called sis. I was like, I want to talk about the ego and how people be so into their ego, right? And then she was just like, let's look up the meaning of the word ego. She pulled up ego
Good
and sis was
morning.
like, wait, how ego is a good thing? And the whole time, that was basically my concept was that people be too into their ego. Not necessarily that the fact that having an ego is a bad thing. They just be too into that lower density of this plane. And
Right.
when you said that, I was like, yes, exactly what I'm talking about. Then she was like, hold on, let's look up egotistical.
Yeah, I don't know what made me do that. Like, there was just the spirit told me, like, let me look up the actual definition because I've been looking into how do we say it here? Is it etymology or etymology?
Apology, I guess. Y'all could correct us if we're saying it wrong, but
Yeah. So we looked into, etymology or etymology, the study of the true meaning of words, because, a lot of words, we don't know where they come from. We're just using them. These are words that were taught to us by the colonizers, and we just use them. In reality, a lot of times they mean the opposite of what we think it means.
mm,
So when we looked it up, so you know how people always tell you, "Oh, kill your ego," right? They would tell you, "There's no place for your ego. Kill your ego. Turn your ego down." So when we looked up the definition, the true definition of the word ego, the ego is a person's sense of self-esteem and self-importance.
mm-hmm.
We
Which is
need
important to
that.
have. Which is important to have.
Yeah, we
Right.
need the ego. So now when you look up the definition of the word egotistical, egotistical means to be excessively conceited.
Mm,
So there's a big difference there in the word ego and egotistical. Thank
right.
you so much for the likes,
Thank you
guys.
guys.
Thank
Thank you guys
you.
for just like being with us and tuning in today. But
Hi, Kat.
exactly, there's so much of a difference. But they're also in the same kind of like they're affiliated.
Right, they are affiliated.
That
Yeah.
show you one line, but different spectrums, right? And we
Mhm.
need to find ourselves in that center. No, we're not telling you the ego's bad. First of all, we're not even saying anything is bad. There's no right or there's no wrong way of doing things. We are encouraging you to go after what you want in your own way that makes you feel good. And as long as it's not hurting anybody else around you, you're well on your way. But
Right.
there comes a current time when you could even feel it in your system. You're overdoing something.
Hmm.
You could
Yeah.
like, and if you can't feel it, that means that you're not connected to your body. That means that you're not here to understand why. If you're not the importance of being self-aware, people be too caught up in their ego, and that to the point where they can't even be self-aware. They're looking at their mask and they're projecting
Hmm.
people, and it's all coming full circle.
Right. So with the ego, like it's important because with everything in life, right, there's balance. Good morning to everyone who just came in. With every literally everything in life, there's balance. So now with your ego, the ego being your sense of self importance, your sense of self esteem, we need that in order to be great. We need our ego in order to realize what we're here for and how important we are.
Yes,
Um,
you.
Now, like Shandy was saying, when you when you let it control you and you allow it to take you to a different place to where it becomes something that's negative, that's when you become egotistical.
Yes.
So you
Yes.
should absolutely use your ego. You should absolutely be in touch, in tune with your ego, but have control of it
I
and not let it turn to being egotistical, because when it turns to being egotistical, we were just talking about how being egotistical is really the root of all evil. Not money,
and
it's
then and guess what?
egotistical.
Getting out of that egotistical, you have to get to the root of why you are acting that way. You have
Right.
to get to the root. So it always it's so mind blowing how everything comes back to that one source. Um, if you find yourself, and if you get to the point where you're self-aware to say, "Oh shit, maybe I'm bugging. I am bugging a bit. Let me just sit back and tune in." It really
Mhm.
is gonna and force you to go back into like the past, maybe your childhood, maybe somebody said something to you and it stuck, and you now whatever they said to you, you created the truth, and you their lie became your truth, and that and your reality was reflecting that, and that's why every time you meet somebody, they're mirroring the things that just deep within you, and the truth is they're not your enemy. They're not your enemy. The ego will have you being egotistical will look at it as your enemy, because your ego is causing you to not even understand that two has to play this game. So a
Mhm.
part of you have allowed this connection to evolve to a certain place, to the point where that person got to look at you and feel like they could play with you a certain kind of way.
Mhm.
It takes two to tango, but if you're too egotistical, you can't see that. So yes, it does goes back to you going back to your root and saying, okay, what caused this? And it's not easy, because who wanna sit down and see that the fact that they got to where they got to is all because of their own choices.
Them,
That shit
yeah.
is
It's not easy, but that's you. No, nobody ever grows in a place of comfort, so you're gonna have to accept that you are the problem sometimes. You know
yes.
what I'm saying? I feel like a lot of times, when we talk about being egotistical, when we talk about that being the root of all evil, in
Mm-hmm.
reality, it's like all of the people who come across money, right?
Mm-hmm.
People who are wealthy, who are rich in material, material gain. A lot of them tend to be egotistical, and so they are the ones who mishandle the money. Like, it's not. I don't think it's money that causes evil. It's
Never,
the people who have the money.
because we're the one putting value on this money. The minute people could wake up tomorrow and be like, oh, a couple of $1,000, that's not nothing. It literally becomes nothing, because we have that power. We're the ones
Yeah,
making putting the belief in. They need us to do that. They need our minds, which is why they come and they corrupt it so much. That's why they try to corrupt our minds, because without our mind, you're nothing. This whole universe is a complete projection of what's happening in our head. So
yeah.
it goes right back to that. That is so true. I'm so
Oh, in case you haven't heard this today, you are beautiful and bring so much value to the world. Thank you so
happy
much. We appreciate that. Thank you. Good
that.
morning, guys. We
Thank
appreciate the
you guys
love.
for the likes. Oh my God, you guys are so awesome. Thank you guys for just being here with us, because like this is what we came here to do. Share the word, share the knowledge every Sunday around the same time. Like we're not
Yep.
up, because we understand that this is a community thing, and the minute that we all decide to check in with ourselves and check ourselves sometimes, and then also love ourselves. Let's talk about the fact that we don't have to kill the ego. All we got to do is integrate that and work with it. Have your
Right.
ego become your best friend. Have your
Mhm.
ego believe in the fact that you want what you want. Yeah, I desire it. Yeah, there's certain things I'm not going to do to get it, because that's my character. But guess what? That ego is the reason why you desire it. Use that to enforce you. Make that be your fuel. Don't make the evilness be your fuel. Don't make the negative mindset, the lack minded. Don't make none of this stuff be your fuel. Allow allow the greatness of this all. Allow the fact that you could wake up every day and see the sun shining sometimes, and the sun comes out. I thank the sun every time it comes out.
Yeah.
Every
Right.
anytime.
And I
Cause
think that's
I'm
also
happy.
that's gratitude, which is essential in growth and um, progression. But it's also humility. Humility to me. So now, remember we talked about the word humble too, right?
Mm,
So the word humble is so tricky. It's one of those words, just like ego. It's automatically like basically being humble is dumbing yourself down. So remember, we need that balance, like with everything else in life. So although I don't feel that you should ever have to dumb yourself down, I do feel like sometimes we should show some humility.
Mm.
Like I'm not saying, oh, be humble, don't be proud, don't be, hey, don't use your ego because we need that. Sometimes you need that because I feel like we can use our ego to inspire others and ourselves, right? But when you get cocky with it and you don't know how to show humility, I feel like that's when it gets out of hand. So you waking up every day and thanking the higher power, or showing gratitude to whoever it is that has helped you along your journey. I feel like that's humility as well.
Showing gratitude more and more each day because
Mhm.
I had to believe this is not only part of my doing. There's a couple of things I had to go through when there's things that I experienced, and I was just like, yo, that couldn't be me alone. If that was only just me, like I have a whole spiritual team. I have ancestors that's rooting for me. I have people that love me and support me.
Mhm.
It takes a village.
It
And
really
I'm so
does.
loved that I get to wake up each day and have a fucking choice. And I refuse to lay down and have somebody make a choice for me. I'm not about that shit.
Mhm.
And if I was to stand deep in my ego and be like, every situation was somebody else's fault than my fault. Everything that it happened to me instead of happening for me. All that shit kept happening and poor me. Why me? Nah, man. I had to suck it up and be like, yo,
That
I have to
victim
do fucking
mentality
part.
is going to kill you. The
I
victim
have to do part.
mentality will
Yes.
ruin
Yes.
you.
And that's what the ego, that's what being too in your ego. You ever meet somebody and everything that happens to them is always somebody doing it to them and
Oh
they
my
can never
gosh.
see what part they played and they continue. It's like a roller coaster. And guess what? Those are the people that are actually being manipulated the easiest. That you know why? If a move that somebody else is causing you to shift how you feel, somebody controls you. Somebody has
Mhm.
power over you. If I could make you feel a way, I have power over you.
Yeah, I agree.
And the only way that you can make me feel away is if I actually believe in what you're trying to tell me.
Right.
The only way. I had to see that shit. And I was like, yo, you can look at somebody and have them talk to you long enough and you will know where they're at. Pay attention
Oh
to where
yeah, definitely.
and pay attention to how they move. You're gonna know where they're at.
Yup. People will tell on themselves.
All the time. You gotta
Yeah,
look
for real.
at them.
So the difference. So we defined what the ego is and what egotistical is. We talked about the difference in it of it, and then we also brought the light the fact that we need the ego, but we don't need to be egotistical.
Right. You know, I wanted to point out something too. All right. So I've been dabbling in perception, right? And I also have my moments where I experience being projected on, meaning I could be in my own body, in my energy, just being me. And just
Hmm.
because I'm being me, it may come across offensive to somebody else. I could
Yeah.
be so confident and in love with everything I'm doing and moving that way, right? To somebody else, it may come across as cocky or she's too into herself. When the whole time I'm just
Hmm.
the whole
A
time.
lot of times they're projecting.
So like that's the whole thing I'm trying to say. Like, when does it become like should we care if people perceive how we operate as offensive or cocky? Like who came up with these rules?
Hmm. Yeah. So I said, like I said, in response to what you just said, I think that a lot of times people are projecting when they do that. You know what I'm saying? They're projecting for sure. But I think that you're right. Like I do feel like these things were created to dumb us down
Hmm.
because we already know, well, most of us already know how powerful we really are. And it does not benefit the oppressor for us to know
Is
how powerful we really are. So remember, they created the language. They created the language. They created this whole ideology of be humble, and we ran with it. You know what I'm saying? Dumb yourself down. This was passed down
oh,
generation to
but,
generation.
one of the key things is to have this sense of self-trust, self-awareness. I have to see myself, my true self, in order for anybody to actually to see me. And sometimes people create version that there's a lot of versions of us out there. Hell, sometimes we disagree with our own versions of what we see ourselves in because we're too far gone into like that material plane, right?
Mhm.
So it really comes to the point where you have to have this self-awareness and also sense of self-trust to know that anything that you feel, as long as you're feeling it, is true. You don't have to go outside of yourself. You don't have to ask nobody for no help. You literally don't need anyone, right? Yes, community is perfect. It's amazing. But also having that inner awareness to be like, yo, I'm powerful as hell. And all the answers is already within.
Mhm.
Nothing else I gotta do. Nothing else I gotta do. Nothing else I gotta search for. No, all I gotta do is take a moment to sit and allow spirit to bring the message to me, and I got it. And when I'm moving like this, I'm just moving like this,
Mhm.
regardless of how somebody else perceive it. Because, like again, everybody's perception of us is like very vast. It's different based off of what that person is experiencing. I can't care what everybody thinks about me. That
Right.
I would go crazy.
You lose your fucking mind.
My fucking mind trying to please everybody, and half of these people don't even know themselves. And mind you, people are finicky as hell. One minute they feel this way, next minute they don't. I'm
I
a
was just saying this yesterday. People are so finicky
very choosy, very very choosy.
and fickle.
You cannot care, guys. You cannot care. And it you realize the easier it's gonna get for you. The easier this life journey is gonna get when you realize, yo, all I gotta do is trust me and move in my own energy and just do what I feel called to do. As long as I'm safe, as long as the people around me are safe, I'm good. This is just I'm chill. Like fuck what anybody else think.
For real.
Cares about their opinions or how they
Yeah.
perceive you.
The see this the funny thing is that this whole process, if you do the work, then all of this just flows. Like you'll know when people are, you know, you'll know when it's constructive criticism, and you'll know when it's just simply projecting. What happened to your background?
I don't know. But I will well, hold on. I think I could do it. I'm gonna change it again. Let Let's just say, oh shit. Hi guys.
Well, what's that?
Girl, we gonna just act like nothing just happened.
Yeah, so like we were saying,
Yes, my love.
so it's funny because whenever we hear the word ego, automatically we associate it with something bad, right? It's not until we actually look it up. Because I've had these conversations with many people because even the word cocky. So there's a difference between being cocky and being confident, right?
Right.
It's like the lightness and excuse me, I don't have COVID, it's just a cold. It's like the difference between the light and the darkness, right?
Right, right.
So like in the light, it's like, yeah, you should be confident. You should have an ego. But it's also like the dark side is you should not be egotistical and you shouldn't be cocky. Like, and then when you do the work, all of this, it all just flows. It all makes sense and it all comes naturally.
Yes, yes. And it literally I had to also realize that we are the ones getting in our own way. So many times I had looked back, I'm like, yo, I could just win. But some of us, then in retrospect, like for me, I do not regret anything that happened in my past because I really do feel like everything uniquely played a part. Like it was almost like
Mm-hmm.
written, and I was just even when I thought I wasn't in alignment, I still was because I literally every step that I needed to become the person I am today. I'm like wondering had I become how like what would I become if I didn't experience that shit like that it really built me up to be so
Yeah,
strong to like love like and know what love is like I had
right.
heartbreaking a few times to know what love isn't
Yeah,
like you know
that's true.
I'm very that's when the compassion and the gratefulness comes in. I'm so thankful. I give so much gratitude for the people that played a part in my growth
Mm-hmm.
in the people that made me feel so small so I realized I don't like feeling small. Let me step that up a bit because I don't I shouldn't be I didn't come here to feel small.
Right. But do
You know,
you realize? And we've
some
spoken
people
about
got
this
to get back
before.
in there and overstanding people. Exactly. You do.
Yeah. Do you
You
realize that
Hmm?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just repeating what Corinne Corian said. Yep.
What did she say?
She said, "Yep, you get better at inner and overstanding people."
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And have you ever noticed that those of us with higher callings, we tend to have the shittiest lives? Like this shitty, like we done been through some
Yes,
shit. We were, like we can laugh now, right? Because we've grown through it. But it is really sad because we've been through some really rough childhoods,
really.
and sometimes like why me? Like damn, I was just a kid. But it's like oh shit, there's a bigger purpose. Like I needed to be stepped on so that I can come from under the shoe and fucking and
Yo,
fuck shit up.
I
You
said,
know, I
I,
needed to be counted out so I could realize that I'm like top five.
exactly.
You, yeah. So, um, I think when you see things like that, I feel like that helps build your ego also because remember, for those of you guys that wasn't here, the real definition of the ego is a person's sense of self importance and self esteem. And egotistical is when you're excessively conceited. But a lot of times we're misinformed, and I myself was misinformed because I thought ego was something completely different than what it is. So when you realize your purpose, when you realize that you're here for a higher reason, that's when your ego kicks in. Like, oh shit, I am important. I am somebody. We
Yes,
need that.
yes, yes, and that's why we literally you get to a point where you're like, I get it. I get why this happened. I
Yeah.
get and then you have this feeling of gratitude for everything, and then moving forward is like it's your life becomes easier because you have this acceptance. You finally accepted who you are, what you came here to
Mm-hmm.
you accepted your past for what it was, and you're okay now to allow life to play out for you because you realize life is playing out for you.
Mm-hmm.
We all signed up for this life and we chose everything that happens in this life. Yes,
Yeah,
I
that's a
I agree.
fact.
I agree.
That's a fact. And I was reading something that was talking about that. Oh no, it was the article that you sent me yesterday. It
Yeah,
was talking about the fact that our souls literally put us here. We
yeah.
chose this, and it's like if you ever played a video game that where you gotta go on little missions. You know what I'm saying? And you go through the like Mario. Mario gets dragged through the mud. You know what I'm saying? These games, these characters, they get dragged, and then
I
when they make it to that level, there's like a big celebration, or they get the prize or coins, or whatever it is, right? That can be applied to life as well because we already know, okay, this is the destination. Now, according to now we have free will. So even though our souls chose ultimately what lessons we need to learn and all of these things, like our free will gives us the right to be able to say, okay, I want to take this path or
yeah,
that path.
my free will is there. Yes, and that's the beauty of it. Because imagine always knowing how things gonna play out, as you get bored. Like you get bored. Like you'd be like, oh, what the fuck? I already know. But like some of us do know because we are like very empathetic, and we're very psychic or whatever, right?
Hmm.
So some of us do, but we still is there stuff that's just still like kind of like murky, like, and that's the point of it all. Like it's a whole journey, it's a school, it's a and treat it like a game. Treat that shit like a game. Like be like, you know what? Challenge yourself. How did you act in the past compared to now? Do you still want that outcome? If you don't want that outcome, choose something different. It's literally like that. The difference that you're choosing is not going to be comfortable because you've never been there before. But that's
Hmm.
the challenge. Get your ass through that shit.
That's a
Get your
challenge.
ass through that shit because as long as you know you're not gonna have to repeat the same scenario, that's better than fucking repeating it. Trust me,
Yeah.
I've been there many times. My stubborn ass was repeating the same shit.
How many times we go through
Different
the
body,
same things
same.
over and over? Yo, we be going through the same things over and over again, and we be like, why does this keep happening to me?
I said, yo, my soul knows my ass so well. She know that I'm mad stubborn. So there are certain things that my stubborn ass had to go and feel that shit so I could stop.
Hmm.
I was like, yeah, I get it. I get why I chose that. Like,
Now that shit will humble
it
you.
will help you.
You'd be like, oh. You know, the whole time I thought I was big shit. The whole time I thought I was doing this, that, and that the right way. It turns out I had it all wrong, and I gotta go through this shit again.
And that right there is beautiful, because if you could do that to yourself with love, you could do that to your friends with love. And that's really where unconditional love comes in, guys.
Hmm.
Conditional love is literally the highest vibration that you could ever find yourself in. Unconditional love is your biggest shield, and it will protect you from anything that does not vibrate at that level. So imagine that. Imagine living life within unconditional love for an acceptance of everything that's occurring, to know that it's all happening for you. It's not happening to you.
Right, and unconditional love is not to be mistaken for some stupidity. Like I feel like because unconditional love means like I love you forever, even if I'm loving you from a distance. So we're not saying to stick around in situations that don't
Oh yeah,
serve you.
that's not even unconditional love. That's toxic. That's karmic love.
Yeah, but
That's
people be
love.
people be mistaking it too. Remember
Yeah,
we talked about etymology. Somebody please tell me how you say that word because I feel very uncomfortable saying it.
you know
At
what
an
to do?
etymology.
Go on Google and fucking reach it.
Yeah, so we talked about etymology, the study of the true meaning and the origins of these words. So, realistically speaking, what does that word even really mean?
Mm-hmm. But yes, sis, I'm here for it all. I'm gonna look it up too, see. But I do know that what real love is, I do believe that it's just love where it's very freeing. And but it's
Mhm.
also subjective, but you also know what it ain't. If I feel like I can't breathe without you, that's a problem.
That's codependency.
If I feel like
That's
I hold you like this tight and I feel like you slipping out my, that's a problem.
that's yeah, that's codependency. So that's what it was, right? There's a difference between unconditional love and codependency.
Yeah, or just loving, trying to attach yourself unhealthily to something else outside of you. And
Right.
it doesn't even have to be a person. It could be things. People are very attached to certain things, like friggin' food or drugs,
Food, drugs, social media,
work. People are
work.
attached to their work. You can talk about that.
Yeah, I am a workaholic. I'm definitely a workaholic.
I could be sometimes, but I know like sometimes I gotta tap out. But
Yes, I've learned to tap out, but it's recent. I've just started learning to tap
it
out.
is a progress. It's really a progress. It's really something where it's just like you gotta take your time with it, because then you gotta understand why how did you become a workaholic? You know,
Hmm.
maybe you were lied to and was taught that you had to work in order to receive things, in order to have things in your and be comfortable. You had to work hard. Maybe it's a lot of stuff that comes with it, and then we had to unlearn
Hmm.
and then relearn, unlearn, and then just make something work for us. Because that's another thing too. There's nobody's creating rules for your life but you. I'm sorry. If you're like looking for answers for somebody else for what you got going on, then who's actually leading your life?
Hmm.
So yeah, I love this conversation. I feel like we had like a great,
Yeah, I really liked it, and it really flowed. And I remember initially we were going to talk about resistance, how resistance brings
Oh
pain,
yeah.
but
Okay.
Res- it actually it all flows in together. It all ties in together because remember we're talking about balance, right? Balancing the ego, like not getting rid of it, but balancing it.
Hmm.
And when you don't balance it, when you fail to do that, and you become egotistical, that's you putting up resistance to growth, resistance to facing the reality of what's in front of you. Because egotistical people, they don't. There's no deep thought to them
Yeah, they're not. They're too in their
into themselves.
Yeah, I'm trying to put it in a way where it's like, because I don't think they're in their body. When you're in your body, you're operating as the soul and your physical together. But if you're
Hmm.
not, if you're too deep into the material stuff, like you have, all right. For example, you're not, instead of seeing the bigger picture, you're too in front of it.
Okay.
That's when people are egotistical. They can't see the bigger picture. They can't see that both sides had to play a part to it. They always it's a victim thing, or it's always something where it's like you notice it too that you can't even talk to, you can't disagree with them. They be the
You
ones that
can't.
be mad because you disagreed with them. Like everybody
Yeah.
has their own opinion. Like people that do that operate like that, you know that they're too involved into like themselves to see
Mm.
anything else but
They're
themselves.
very surface level. You
Yeah,
can't reason with people like that.
they're outside of themselves. Exactly.
Yeah, trying to hold a conversation with someone like that is futile.
And you know, so interesting when you was just like you said something about them people because I was just like you had to feel because if you're not in your body, how do you feel? And our feelings are our divinations. It gives us it guides us. I'm gonna tell you all the time, your feelings are true to you. Believe and trust in yourself and trust in your feelings because they are giving you answers to what to do next. If it's
Hmm.
if it's like this, don't do it. Chill and see why it's like this. But if it's like immediate yes, you'll feel excited to do that shit.
Yeah.
Work in that energy. If you feel sluggish, that means you need to rest. Like listen to what your body is telling you. Your body is never gonna lie to you. It's never gonna lie to you. So if you're too into your ego, if you're being too egotistical,
Egotistical.
you're not
Hmm.
going to be able to feel those feelings to be able to guide you. Imagine not being in your body, not having that guidance, not being able to feel your way through this life. And that is literally our key to even live a good life is to feel these things. We can't
Hmm.
feel. We can't
Right.
we came here to experience. So when you're being too egotistical, you're not living.
Yeah,
You're
that's
not
true.
because you're
That's
not
true.
operating at your heart space. You need your heart space in order to live.
And that's that resistance.
And that's when you know you're in resistance. If you're feeling pain, you're resistant. You're in resistance. If you're feeling pain, you're in resistance. So if you're feeling pain, you gotta ask yourself, why do I feel this pain? Where is pain coming from? It's
Hmm.
a spiritual thing before it's a physical thing. Before anything, it's always spiritual. Why do I feel this way? Ask yourself. Take a minute, the answer's gonna come to you. Then you work on that. It's not gonna be easy, but do you want to continue feeling that way?
It's a part of doing the work, for real.
Yeah. I'm happy you brought that up because I literally forgot about it.
I didn't.
I forgot about it. I was like, yes, thank you. Resistance, pain.
Yeah, I had it written down too. I have my little notes here.
I love that. I love how we work together because, girl,
Yeah, we do. We
like you,
do
I
compliment each other. I
love
love you so much.
you too, sister. I can't wait to see you. Can't wait
I
to
can't
come
wait to see you either.
and just oh my god, Laura's gonna be turned up, huh?
I'm excited. I'm excited. Thank you
I love
guys so
you guys.
much
Thank you
for
guys so much for
joining us.
joining us every Sunday. Also, I'm putting the replay of this on my YouTube channel, Shandy Love Speaks. Shandy Love
Hmm.
Speaks is in the link in my bio. So if you want to watch any of our old conversations, because we have this talks all the time. So
Yeah.
you can check that out. And Shandy Love Speaks. We love you guys. See you guys next Sunday.
Love you. Have a great Sunday. Have a great week.
Bye, baby.
Bye.